Last year I was called the Antichrist because I said some things that a lot of people didn't like. This year, I'm going to give you my 2012 resolution, but I'm going to read it to you because I want to get it right. As I enter 2012, I have to think of all the things that I have to be thankful for. I am thankful for 2 fantastic parents who gave me brothers and sisters and the wisdom that helped me to grow beyond any known paradigm, religious or otherwise. As I traveled and became educated, I saw the impact on those who did likewise as compared to those who didn't. I'm thankful for my health and a lady who is so concerned about my health that she gives me vitamins to waylay future decreases in stamina. I'm thankful for a daughter who survived a non-caring, selfish mother and stepmother, yet continues to impress me with her wisdom and intellect, which I hope has something to do with my efforts as a father. I'm thankful for a woman who has shown concern for my health and equal concern for the welfare of my daughter. I'm thankful for siblings who surpassed all that I ever expected from our family that grew from meager circumstances, and I'm especially thankful for my little brother, who grew far beyond minimal resources and helped me prove to that special lady that she really is special. His family became the family that I did not have because of circumstances within my control. Now, a few days ago, I watched the story of Akhenaten and immediately recalled the 1974 UNESCO conference when Dr. Cheikh Anta Diop and Dr. Obenga challenged Europeans to tell the truth about Egyptian history. They challenged to explain the fact that residents who built the pyramids and the 3,000-year civilization of Egypt were black and from the South. They didn't just come in with a lot of conversation. They used melanin tests to prove that their point compared to racist, unsupported rhetoric of whites. Ancient Persians, Greeks, and Romans said religious mysteries and science were of Egypt, that Egyptians were black with woolly hair, and scholars of all 3 cultures recognized the necessity of studying the world's longest-standing, most progressive culture. Now, fast forward to 2010. I had a meeting with 2 black anthropologists at Union Memorial Hospital here in Baltimore. They felt that such information was irrelevant. I suggested that truth is always relevant when myths are used to destroy the history of my people. They responded, we have to agree to disagree. Like too many, they agreed to disagree because of the Benjamins and prestige. I'll use language in low self-esteem, violence, and self-destruction. Meanwhile, the gods of our culture have become irrelevant. Our community became irrelevant. We began to destroy what racists want us to destroy, our history. In segregated schools of the 40s and 50s, I learned to love my people. Of course, what they taught created the civil rights movement, and they weren't going to have that again. So by the 70s, integrated schools taught our youth that our history was, again, irrelevant. Now, the outcome of that teaching is self-hatred. So Africans in the diaspora don't agree with what I have to say and often don't accept our ancestry. Many would rather be blacks, niggers, and dogs. I wonder what country they evolved from. Is there a country in the world called black, nigger, or dog? The year is 2012, and my resolution is to teach young blacks how to become functional, how to handle a system that cares little about us. I want to teach them how to adapt. I want to teach them to unlearn what those who don't like us taught our mentors and our parents. Now, maybe another word besides adapt would be adjust, because adapt means I have to adapt to the attitudes, the habits, and behaviors of a people who don't like me in the first place. But we have to teach our children sustainability. We have to teach them how to sustain our community, our culture, our religion, because it's important to the future of black people. Last year, one of the reasons people got angry with me was because I said that the Jesus story came from Egypt. Because I said that the first virgin was Isis. The first godchild was Horus. Because I said that Horus was born on December 25th of the virgin Isis. And because I said that Horus was visited by the three magi who came from the east, guided there by a star. Well, that story was written on the wall of the Holy of Holies, the temple at Luxor, 1583 BC, and it's still there. Of course, following that story of Horus, Hindustanis, who today are Indians, had Mithras. Mithras was born of a virgin in a cave on December 25th and had 12 satellites. That story evolved into Persia. But those who understand anthropology understand that evolution went from Africa to India to Mesopotamia. So the story that we believe started about 5,000 years ago along the Tigris and Euphrates. The truth is, our story began along the Great Lakes and Nile. Ethiopians have all kinds of statues of Lucy. The story goes that Lucy was the first statue of Lucy, or what was of Lucy, was found on a hillside in Ethiopia 3.5 million years ago. Those same Ethiopians will tell you the story of Adam and Eve is true, a story that's only 5,000 years old. We have to re-educate our children, and we have to teach them how to be functional, how to adjust to a society that has shown that they don't particularly like us, and how to sustain themselves, how to get away from drugs, alcohol, violence. People who sell drugs, alcohol, and are violent within our community say, if I don't do it, someone else will. That's their belief system. Belief systems create behavior. Our behavior is impacted by a belief system that has never been functional in our community. We must become functional. We must adapt. And we must sustain our culture. If in fact, the people along the Tigris and Euphrates were God's chosen people, why are there so few of them? If you look at the population of the world today, there are over 1 billion Chinese, over 1 billion Indians, 1 billion Africans, and 14 million Jews. We need to take a look at our history, a look at our culture. In 1955, black attorneys for the NAACP closed Prince Edward County schools in Virginia for 5 years because whites said that we couldn't learn. The NAACP said not only could we learn, but that we taught the Europeans. The first university in Europe was put in Spain when the Moors of Africa ruled Spain for 700 years. Segregated schools taught that we were performing eye operations and brain surgery in Timbuktu when Europeans were still in the caves. We don't want to understand that the Egyptians took the brain out through the nose, that Egyptians opened the entire body and took out those things that wasted away quickly and put them in jars. Now, if you open the body, if you've been inside the body, Maybe Imhotep, who was a surgeon, Imhotep, known as the Lamb of God, Imhotep, who developed the pyramid at Saqqara, understood things that came into Greece with the Hippocratic Oath. Because 2,000 years before Hippocrates, there was Imhotep. 3.5 million years before Adam and Eve, there was Lucy. Your ancient historians tell you very clearly that it all began in Africa. Read your ancient Greeks, Homer, Herodotus, Plato, Socrates. They all studied in Egypt. I'm going to tell you an unknown fact. So did Mary and Elizabeth, the cousin of Mary. Maybe the story that you hear of Jesus is a story that Mary and Elizabeth heard when they studied in Egypt. If you really do your homework, you'll also find that Jesus studied in Egypt. The Jews who were supposedly slaves did not build the pyramids as slaves. The pyramids were built 1,000 years before the Jews got there, or the Hebrews, or whatever you want to call them. The idea that Akhenaten, Amenhotep IV, developed the first one God thousands of years before the one God of the Tigris and Euphrates suggests that maybe we need to take another look at ourselves. We need to take another look at who we are. As science and anthropology suggest that we were the first, maybe we were the chosen. I don't happen to believe that anybody's chosen. I happen to believe that God is love. The God of ancient Africa, the God that was born of water millions of years ago and created standards, truth, honest, and justice, Ma'at, the God of love, gave you none of what you believe at this time in your life. What has not functioned for you and will not sustain our culture. We need to adjust. We need to adapt. We need to learn what can help us in the future, because it hasn't helped us in the past.